tetrahydrocannabinol. Most of you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, it's alright, because I'm going to be discussing this controversial chemical with you today. I'm going to be talking about a brief history of this plant, the side effects of consuming it, as well as some of its uses, most of which are legal. Not all. In case you haven't already figured it out, I'm talking about the marijuana plant. I thought about bringing in some handouts like some of our classmates from Monday, but I don't really have a desire to go to jail, so I don't have anything to add too much excitement to my story. Sorry. Alright, so marijuana can be traced back along the ages for various uses. It can be traced back as early as 6000 BC for use as a fabric. They're using the fibrous parts of the plant to make it into rope, clothing, whatever, that kind of stuff. Marijuana's main use as a mind-altering drug up until 500 AD had been limited entirely to India, but over the centuries it slowly expanded, first moving into North Africa, going across that continent, moved into Latin America, and then finally made its way up to North America, where it was met by the general public with fear. Gotta love smear campaigns. Nobody's really certain when marijuana became legal, but most people agree that it was with the 1937 Marijuana Tax Act, which didn't necessarily make the possession of marijuana illegal, but the tax itself was so high no one could really afford to pay it, so in essence it did make it legal. And if you were caught in violation of that act, the Tax Act, there was a steep, steep fine, about $12,000 back then, roughly $24,000 today. So it's not something you really want to pay, no matter how much you have. Alright, so most people believe that the only real use for marijuana is to introduce it into your bloodstream. It is the most common use for it, but there are a lot of other advantageous uses for it as well. The first one is as a hemp fiber that I mentioned earlier. It is from the hemp plant, a little bit different than cannabis sativa, but you just make it into a fiber used for ropes. You can also make it into fabrics, and also it was used for paper. When it was used for paper, it was more durable and lasted longer and stronger than the paper we use today made out of wood. But smear campaigns again, awesome. So the second is extracting the oil from the hemp seed. This oil can be used to make varnishes, oils, paints, and soaps. That's not as common of a use, but it is still out there. Third is as an energy source. Hemp is a clean burning fuel, so when it is burned, it doesn't release CO2 into the atmosphere, which does, well, it doesn't help our ozone layer, but it doesn't deteriorate it, so that's great for global warming. I'm not going to be discussing the illegal uses for this plant because you guys probably all know about as much of it as I do. It's common knowledge, but the medical use for it does deserve some recognition. Charles Arthur wrote in an article about cannabis extracts that medicinal marijuana could be used to ease the pain and nausea of those undergoing chemotherapy. And in the states that have legalized medicinal marijuana, it is used for chemo patients, as well as those who suffer from glaucoma and leukemia, and it is used to ease the pain and muscle spasms of those suffering from multiple sclerosis. So it does have widespread use to help people and give them some relief from whatever they're ailing from. Some of the side effects from consuming THC is the positives of relaxation and some deep philosophical thinking, some of the more negatives of coughing, paranoia, and memory problems. It's commonly referred to as THC. It is a psychoactive element found in marijuana. THC is a mild hallucinogen. And there haven't been too many studies finding the lethal dose of marijuana, but a few have been completed. And scientists in a lab study have been able to calculate the toxicity level of THC. They were testing on rats, so they weren't using animals that we need to do less. The toxicity level of THC is 42 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. I'm safe, obviously. And according to Concept420.com, marijuana contains 1 to 4% THC, with 4% being the good stuff. So with the toxicity of THC being so low and extremely low amounts of it in the marijuana, a person would have to smoke 1,500 pounds of marijuana. That's the good stuff. Like they have to smoke primo grass, 1,500 pounds in less than 15 minutes in order to overdose on THC. So it does have the long-term effects of cancer because you are burning it. You have the carcinogens and all the other stuff that causes cancer. But THC itself has not been found to cause any long-term side effects. So, and also to put this toxicity level into perspective for you, it does have a safety rating of 1,001. Some of the other commonly used drugs, just to let you know how those go, is alcohol has a safety rating of 15:1. So 1,001, 15:1 is alcohol. So THC is a lot safer. Cocaine is 10:1, and heroin is 6:1. So not even the same ballpark. In conclusion, just hoping that I educated you to try and help the public's education on this plant. I've talked to you today about some of its advantageous uses and giving you the facts of consumption of THC to replace some of the myths that everyone has heard. So hopefully next time you're faced with a decision about marijuana, you can make a better, well-informed decision.